I was so worried that this person that commented on the video saying that they couldn't get the scripts to run that they found on that hightail site. And I thought, oh my God, I hope they're not trading in the United States, trying to run first in, first out, and all of that nonsense with the, you can't hedge, all that. I got a whole story about that. So I try to trade on FXCM's platform today, and I try to do it on, run my scripts on also Oanda. Oanda. And Oanda actually did a lot better for certain reasons. And basically what happened was FXCM started to, well, I guess I experimented and I ran one of these buttons here. When you first load your platform, this is set to a standard lot. And this is the demo that the guy in the UK said he was running a standard lot on that. And so you don't have to run a standard lot on that, but I opened up a demo just to see what it's like to trade on this broker. So when you, right out of the can, when you get these, if anybody's never traded before, when you get the demo, it looks like this. I haven't touched anything. The default load is like this. And we've seen all the standard indicators here, and you could probably trade this screen right here. But I think this is the reason why people have all these different, interpretations of the market. And certainly I could take this MACD here right out of the can, and you could just draw trend lines on this. But you're looking for a trend line on the indicator, so you can get in before everybody else. And the whole problem with indicators is they're a little too sensitive. But look at this. This is a great divergence here. I mean, this is a classic, right? How often does this setup happen, though? And here's a trap line. If all your buy limits start beneath here, and forget what they say about anything else, you just want to put your orders down there, right where they're killing people, like right here. Your order's sitting right there. And it just sits there like a thief in the night. I mean, it's a minefield. You're just putting mines out there. The other thing is, if you babysit the market, you can take advantage of this trade up here where the market's just marching up. I mean, look how stupid these trades are. How is anybody losing money? Why aren't they saying, well, you know what, when you see a market drift up like that, you're just going to run a trailing stop? Whoa, you got filled. It's crazy. Gee, what's the chance of that it drifted up into a bottom? You got to put those orders in, or you got a big kahuna sell limit here with a stop here. What do you do now? Buy stops. But maybe not. ATR is too big. Here, your sell stops, right? Write it down. It's kind of a crime when you look back on all this and think to yourself, if I just would have put a buy limit right here and got out at the floor for the scalp and ride through that. It's 4 hours, okay? 4 hours up, 4 hours down. It's stupid. It's for dumb people. Don't overthink it. It could come back to here. It could keep tanking. It could keep tanking. So this is kind of exciting. Now the first thing I would do, if you're going to load the scripts I published on that thing, you come up here, go to Tools, go right to Options, start on Charts, and pick. This is what I pick. So when you draw on the screen, you do not move your trade levels accidentally. Take this down to 5,000. Because if you're running a bunch of fancy stuff, it's going to kill the overhead, show the ask line, show the period separators on new charts. But that's kind of built in a template I already wrote. But any new charts that you bring up, and I hate that grid that they have there because it doesn't it keeps on changing. It's not fixed. Then I go to objects, and I say, give me a 0 pixels away, so everything has to be precise click. Then here I say, give me 1-click trading, and do I agree to bet my life? Yes, I do. Then I go, oh, fuck. I accidentally got out. So it's tools options. Then I go to expert advisors and I say, hell yes, I want to trade with scripts, and that will include the EAs. So now that's set. And this template here doesn't show the ask. They never show the ask. If I go to the another thing is, I always put this over here. I don't know. I just want the tick chart on the right. It just creeps me out that it's on the left. So there's stuff like that, right? If you have a stick shift in your car, it's on the right. Over another country, it might be on the left. You might have a hard time. Then, right now there's no scripts in here, so I'm going to copy. I'm going to show you the copy over process. But here, I would say hide all for right now. If I hide all, it's just going to take me what we have charts in, and also give me bigger tick charts. If I look at the tick chart here, I'm not going to see the ask because the broker really doesn't want you to see the ask. Now, I'm not saying that's a conspiracy, but you don't see the ask on the chart either. So if you turn the ask on here, and there's plenty you can do here to get in trouble as far as setting colors you don't like, stuff you don't want to see. At the common area, I always say, show me the ask, show me the separate. I'm going to turn the grid off. It's too disturbing. It's not the grid that I'm using for price fixing. And I want the chart in the foreground, maybe. I don't know. Change it later. Chart shift, sure. If you want to see it in the future, if you want to shift over a little. And then if I'm really looking back in the big picture, I would fix the scale. If I was looking at the daily and scalping, I'd fix the scale. So now I can see how many days went by. So you see the Asian session here. I don't know when this broker updates, but here we come drifting along. This little triangle here is your chart shift, how much you want. So yeah, I mean, we could retrace, right? And the euro could come back off the round number. So we went 20 pips above the round today, and it looks like I could back off a little bit here. And there's a small 4-hour bar there, so you can bracket that with buy and sell stops. So I'm going to go get the scripts that I had from the other broker. And what you do is you open up, you go here and say open data folder. When you open that up, here comes the this screen. And the stuff that I put on there, I put 3 folders in there. So it's kind of awkward the way this is set up. This is not, Windows, I just don't get it, honestly. I never will. This idea that my folder is now a number, it's so wrong. Like, you cannot even come in the back door and drop stuff in here. You got to open this data folder. Oh, turn the ask line on here. And you can choose grid or no grid here. I guess I put the grid in there, even though I don't know what it's not like a. So here's the window. Say file, open data folder. Then I'm going to go grab these 3 folders. So all I did was I took these 3 and I put them in a zip folder. So you unzip that thing, and then when you drag them over from the other computer, it's going to look like this. Now here is the other, number 77 is the other broker. It's just hysterical. What are they thinking? You can't throw the fucking name in there for me? It's just so stupid. Windows, they went off the charts, man. They fucked up their whole life, my life. So here is the folder, directory, whatever the fuck, pile of files, and then I just have to hold down the right mouse click key, drag it over, but you got to drop it. When the message comes up and it says move to XYZ859, you say copy. And then when it comes up here and it says, oh, do you want to overwrite these? I would say skip, because there may be core files on there. I wouldn't want to fuck up what's in there. So it's going to say, hey, do you want to overwrite these files? And just say skip those files because they could be something important. So I did kind of change some stuff in here when I used this to copy to another. Well, actually, this is a complete clone. If you want to keep track of what, I'll say skip the files. I keep track of what you clone and what's the original format. So you can always go back to, like if you go too far off the deep end, you can always back it down a notch. So if you got a crack whore for a girlfriend, you might want to just go for an alcoholic girlfriend next time. Just take it down a notch. Okay, I'm having a hard time moving this file because my mouse is acting up. Alright, here we go. So I copied these over. And I think I broke my finger earlier, so my right mouse clicking skills aren't up to par. Let's do some fingertip push-ups later. So that's that. And now it's in, and I would restart the whole platform just because I don't think I can see everything. And right now the hotkeys are actually set on that to Control 1, Control 2, Control 3, Control 4. Hold down the Control and go through 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's going to give you the 1, 2, 3, 4 will give you the. So we're all loaded. We put the scripts in there. We put the indicators and all the stuff. And the thing is, I put the let's see. Yeah, I changed that script a little bit, but I want to see right now if I right mouse click on the screen here what this broker's options are for order placement. So that's going to make a difference. Now the single drop scripts will run no matter what. They just will the broker will reject the single drops, which is really the way to trade. The other stuff, you're coming in 10 pips apart, you're talking about a serious commitment. This is like signing up for going on one of these match date sites and getting 10 women at the same time and then filtering them out. So it could be, you could be overloading the system. Go to the trading, go to new order, and then say, I want to go for a pending order, and they will let you trade inside the spread here. So that's good news. You will not freeze the platform. You can even have a buy stop that is sitting below. I mean, depending when you drop this order. Now the default's here, but it doesn't have to be. All my scripts on here are 1K. So you're not going to make a lot of money, but you're not going to lose a lot of money. And then go for the. So we'll look at the trading window. It's got 50,000, right? How can you blow that up with 1Ks? Take you a long time, and then I right mouse click here, and I take off commissions, and I turn on the comments. This is always not on comments. So you can see the name of your script, and then I go, oh, my scripts. Well, I pre-programmed right now 4 buy stops and 4 sell stops. If you've never traded, and if you've been trading for 1,000,000 years and you've never traded on stop entry, then it's a whole different psychology. So here I put a buy stop in for wrong currency pair. So buy stop here on the euro, based on the 5-minute chart, based on the fact that it's going down. This is super tight. Not super tight. This is 1 pip away, but I'm going to tighten them up on this one. I'm going to go here. So there's only really 4 scripts on this. This is the I can't remember what it's called, but the very first one that I published there. But it's basically set up like this. This would be my scalp. It's really market order. Depends how close you want to get. So I'm going to place this at half a pip away, and I'm going to put a 4 pip stop on that, and I'm looking to make 8 pips, just for instance. Now that's hotkey number, that's control 1. So the hotkey, or stop entry, I think it's called. That's the name of the platform, stop entry. So if you keep your platforms organized, at least I'm saying for me, if I had a market trading platform and I knew that thing bought at the market, I'd be really careful to check out what time of day it is. If I start to build a position, like I think it's going to tank, and I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to keep buying into this thing. If you're swing trading it, right? Or your first buy starts at a certain level. So you may not think you're ever going to get filled on some of these orders, but the market can go zooming in one direction for 20 hours straight. And this is lasting an hour. So this makes a difference too. This is an hour. This is probably going to get filled. You think the market can't bounce around 5 fucking pips in an hour? I mean, when you see these people do these trade setups, and they're just so wrong. And I'm like, you did that with some Gartley? Oh my God, I mean, this is like the scalp here. What if this was, what if you hit this key 3 times? You're going to make a whole $2 in 2 minutes? That's not so bad. So here I'm going to compile this one. Then I'm going to go and open. What it would typically do is, the best way to go here is to open up all the buy scripts at once. So you just go like this and you say enter key, and then when they start coming up, you just keep hitting the enter key. So you go enter, 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 and then I go for the sell, say. So if you make this symmetrical, then you have the scalp. This is a 2 hour. So 2 hours, I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to get in 1 pip away in 2 hours. And I'm going to put a 6 pip stop on that. I'm only looking to make 16 pips. Compile that. Of course, you want to invert this perfectly. You have to write it down. You have to keep, you can tile these windows out, and you can get rid of this and look at the whole picture. I guess you want to keep that in case you make an error. So you got this as your kind of a more higher paying scalp, and then here is your, say, I'm going to make 20 pips, and I'm going to risk 8 pips, and I'm going to get in 3 pips above. So I'm actually risking more than 8 pips because I'll risk 10 pips now, because I'm going to get in so far away. It's worse than whatever the spread is too. I haven't looked at the spread. So this is 3 hours pending. Let me put a 220 profit on there, and this should say, 8. Just should reflect, I suppose, if you want to keep track of that. So there's plenty right here. In fact, this is very, I'll make that H2. And all these edits. Get everything queued up here. There's only 8 keys to worry about. And I'm going to put this entrance 4 pips away. So this has to really break out. And it's a bad price, but it's really got to go crushing through that. Now, you don't have to hit all these keys, but I'm going to hit them all. And so there is the entry. And I'm going to hit all 4 keys straight across now. So I'm going to start off with the scalp first. Oops. I guess I screwed up the... I guess maybe the... looks like the market's not trading here. Let me see. It's pretty dead. I guess we're waiting for a tick to come through. I don't know, I seem to crash that script. So that's frozen, unfortunately. Now we have to unfreeze it. We have to change the time frame. I don't have a few buy stops in there. I guess a half a pip was too much. So that's another problem. Even though saying I could be 0 pips away, I can't be minus away. I think the spread here looks pretty... it looks only like a pip. So yeah, half a pip's too much. So we got to change that top one if you're going to trade this from a button standpoint. Now the other ones in here, these would never have a problem. I can't stop that script. Yeah. So we have to crash the platform now. And I should have turned on the ASC to see what it was. I could see it visually there. Okay, so this is the pullback. There's a 5-minute chart. So if I put a buy in here like this, and it doesn't, if I'm too close to the ASC, pretty sure it's in the ASC on. Here, show the ASC line, show periods, chart shift. Oh, I did the other one. So here the ASC line is the red line. So see, they let me get that one in right there. But I cannot put orders in between the spread. They won't. These are single drops now. If I put it just below, I'll get that price. I'll get the, I guess it's not true what they're saying. They're kind of full of shit there. They said that I could put an order in, but I can't, see. Or maybe the script has that written in, but I dropped them before closer. Let me see if I take this number here. Now, I've never really messed with this number. If I make this 1, maybe that lets me put a tighter order in. I don't normally mess with that, so let's see. If I'm getting about 1 pip away. Now the broker won't take it. So he's only going to take them if they're like around here. So even this order here. So I can see why maybe this guy's scripts from, I don't know how close I am to the okay, and it definitely can't go half a pip, so that's it. We're super tight on this. I'll just put one of my grids on here so I can't see the how close you are to the market. So that's a big problem. And yeah, these things will freeze. Now the ones that are single drop, they just won't drop. And that's a good thing. So if you were to say, okay, I'm going to put this order in here, well, there you go. See, now all the single drops totally are always going to run. And if they don't run, it's not going to say remove script. It's never going to say that. It just won't run. Now I'm throwing my templates in here so I can see the damn prices. So I got 1,000,000 templates in here. This one I think is set to, that's 50 pips. So here's this big kahuna script I've been running. This buys every 10 pips all the way down. Now it's pretty fast. I don't know, he's saying that it does take a while to load. But I'm running here at 100 milliseconds. He's got to have fast. 110 milliseconds. That's pretty damn fast. And this indicator won't run. This pivot thing does not run on Mondays. So he's got the same thing here with Sunday. He's got this Sunday cluster. So you can tell Sunday. So there's your classic analysis. Here's resistance taken out. But of course it goes smashing through there. You know, like you can't fucking believe. And it just goes, look at this thing. Double bottom, top becomes a bottom right there on the 1 hour, and where it could sell off. So here's the sells. Now I know these sells are good because they're 2 pips away. So I really got a little ridiculous on this one. Let me go edit this back to a normal amount. So stop entry has its issues. Now if I did it at the market, I would say that I'll just make this 1.5 pips. So and if it doesn't work, then if it doesn't fill, then that's great too. After what I just experienced at FXCM, I think that it's a blessing in disguise when the platform freezes. Yeah, so that's the system, and once again, back to that round number, back to the floor. Painfully obvious target, the double bottom. We blow through it a little bit today. Duh. Another duh day of trading. Only morons need apply. Just say no to Gartley patterns. I know you had your heart set on the X being up here. You don't have to tell me. You know how many people had their X up? Oh, stop up there. And maybe this was the X up here, so I sold that one. And then, yeah. And how about when you thought that it was going to just keep going down forever? Okay, so this indicator, this channel, I'm just going to make it yeller. So you could just drag that around. I only trade at this rate of change, thank you. I only take trades that are moving at this rate of change. So you see these perfect channels. Look at these little baby channels. This is a pretty nice 2 days down. That was a trap. Everybody was like, so I said that I thought that was going to be like, I said be careful because total meltdown, but look at how this thing was just a trap. And trap all the way to here. Just another stupid ass trade. And who wasn't buying down here? You had to. You gotta buy support. Can't wait for confirmation. And then get out here. But look at the daily pivot. Look at that thing. Bottom, bottom, bottom. Pivot, pivot, pivot. Just look for the bodies. So if you're trading candlesticks, you just block off the bodies. Small bodies, put a line through the small bodies. So I think the goal, we already made the goal though. The first was this wick here. And we could pull back a little bit. I think it's going to be one of those things where it barely pulls back tonight. We just go up. And if it comes back to here, I'd buy it for sure. But this was like one of those just going to go up. So here's the big trap on Asia, though. We could come down here, so this will put the buy limits in. Killer, the spread just tightened up incredibly here, so I'm going to put some buy stops on that for the scalp. So you can see the sell line there, the red. So if I just turn off the trade levels, you'll see just pure. So just make this 0, make it none. And you can just see the stops and then take profits there. So here's the scalp, and that's the mid scalp. So look at this double bottom at the 50-yard line. Pretty conspiratorial. There's a beautiful top bottom on 30 minutes, 30 minute. Man, if you're sitting there with your finger on the trigger for that trade, then here's the, you never got filled on that. If you put a limit on that, just weren't aggressive enough. So it is very aggressive. This confirmation trading is very risky. And so is the other kind. So the idea that you're going to confirm that thing and you're going to say, oh God, you know what? I got this thing in the bag. I can relax. You can never relax. Well, I mean, you can relax if you enjoy pain. But it's not pain. It's opportunity. So one man's pain is another man's opportunity. One man's risk is another man's tranquility. So you find tranquility and risk. I don't know. I don't know if you've ever been trading and losing or winning and you didn't care because you're just like, you know what? I'm just, so whatever. Look at this. No fills on these buy stops. So that's another cool thing about having your orders far away that lasts a long time. If this is really going up and you've pressed all the buttons you can press and you walk away, you're like, I'm so loaded up on this thing that I can't press another button. I have to wait for this thing to play out. And yeah, you might get chopped up a little bit, but you're sitting with potential profits. It could happen. And if you're in the UK, you can hedge. You can still go outside and do somersaults. In the States, you have to be so, like, you can't even, you couldn't do it. You could do it, but it's like, you'd have to really change. You couldn't throw a hedge on. You couldn't just, if I put sell stops in here, I couldn't get picked up on the sell side. So if I sold now, which I normally wouldn't sell now, like I feel like the sell was here. If I was going to sell, I missed it. It would have been a sell stop here to get picked up. But I'm going to do it just to demonstrate. So here's my sell tickets. And those are all hard written the first time in here at, I don't know, 2 pips below to trigger that. So I'm hedging without being in the hedge yet. I'm bracketing the market. I'm quartering off a zone. So, anyways, that's how that works for the moment. And this indicator can be a little annoying if you woke up this morning and I thought, well, I don't need to see this fucking indicator. So I don't know if you've ever been angry at indicator or a song you wrote. I just said, what the fuck were you thinking, man? That sucks. So I got other templates in here. Here's the ATR scalp. There's a bunch of stuff in here, man. I can write this stuff till cows come home. Look at this. I got this set at 5 pips down here. So if you got a script that's 5 pips, then you go for the time frame. Look at this explosion. Volatility here. Pure ATR on that. Okay, so here's the 5-minute ATRs below 1 pip. You can set, I think you set the ATR from open to close, so it really gets crazy. Like, it just shows you the bodies. No wicks, just the body. And that might be even more dynamic. I don't know how to edit that, but if the ATR was based on open to close, the difference between open and close and when it went to 0, like, I mean, it went to 0.00001, like, gee, wow. Maybe then you put on the hedge, and maybe the wicks are just too much. You're looking for it to be dead. And some of these scripts won't actually run until the first tick comes in. That's what's going to make the script run. So I'm going to put buy stops in now. For the scalp. And some of these are far away. So that's the 4-hour way up there. And if I just in scalp mode only, because I can't afford to have an order sitting out there long term, but if I go to sleep, I might go say, oh, I'll put that 4-hour in there and just go to sleep. If they ever take that thing out later on, it might be a trap. That's the problem. I would always put in the scalp, though. If you're sitting in front of your screen, go for the scalp and make a little bit of money. And then when the market's open later on, maybe you put in some hairy carry orders like this, where it's like this psychobiolament stuff. I know he's tested out on the demo, but you know, you've seen this spikes a million times. If you have enough money in the account, you know, look at this. Come all the way down here, and here's the trend bot saying, okay, it's uptrend, buy, sell, 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 buy, until you say, oh, that's great, I like that trend bot you built. And then you go back here and you say, wait a minute, what about this part? What would the trend bot be thinking here? Well, he blows mine, right? He loses ass on this. Here it looks like, wow, I made him a genius. Look at perfect V bottom, classic V bottom. Now it stalls out here. And then maybe later, maybe by the end of the week, it does cut through the top of that. And then those 4-hour buy stops, well, if this is our chart, the market never looks back, and they actually make money. Yeah, crazy, huh? I mean, so stuff will make money, even though it's just because you had the order there. So if you didn't have the order there, and if you had too many orders there that don't make sense, then sure, you know, you get smashed. And you might have to get smashed. You might have to go and get drunk. So it looks like we're going to go down. So the sell stops are really too far away to take advantage of this. You'd almost have to sell at the market here with a stop. So if you're really sitting in front of your computer, maybe sell one at the market, and you put a buy stop in. So if I could sell one at the market here, and then, so here's my sell at the market, right? Right there. I'm only getting this price. I'm not even getting the top of that bar. So you can only sell the bid. You cannot sell the ask. So I'll sell at the market, and now I'm going to put buy stops in. Now this is different psychologically, because you're like, I'm short right now, and if I'm wrong, I want to get stopped out, and I want to go the other way. See, that may be your whole attitude in trading, is that, okay, I'm in this trade, it's going in my favor, but how long does it go in my favor? And it should come ripping back. Am I always sitting with the other opposite order behind me? So you're always covering, you know, like, it's like martial arts, you're always covering. And you're always having to be aware of the space around you. And you're a samurai trader, whatever. So however it fits what you're doing. But if you're, you know, if you're used to like this quiet stuff here, this Asian session, it's very spooky because they're really trying to establish a range here. So they would trap most breakout bots. The market's looking for liquidity here. I don't know how I got this buy at the market. I don't know. Sell at the market. I don't know how. Oh, it says buy at the market. See, this is wrong. So relying on the, even though it says what it really is on the thing. Okay. Okay, there you go. So sell at the market. So there's sells still. Okay, so I'm down 69 cents. Well, thank God I'm back trading overseas here, because looking at that FXCM terminal, I thought I'd bet my first 3 homes just to place an order. Okay, looks like you get a pull back here. And I'm not sure, so I'm going to put buy stops in. I'm really going to go for the Hedgemeister trade there. But yeah, if everything's running, you should be able to change time frames when you're done with all the scripts. I guess if you're going to trade 2 pips away, you might as well get in on the market, right? So there's this balance point. The buy stops are, say, to be ultra safe, they're 5 pips away. But a lot of people don't want to get into that shitty price. But if it's really going up, it's going up. and it's just not going to matter a hill of beans to Tuesday, and it's just going to go up. And the other thing is, when it does go up there, how fast is it going to go up? There's no sells in here right now, but the buy limit plunge looks ridiculous here. Now this is going to go 50 pips deep, but look at the daily now. So you're looking at the daily chart. When you go to the 4 hour, you're like, that's still ridiculous. You go to the 1 hour, you're like, they're never going to fill me. They're never going to come back here and get me. But they might. So look at how your brain totally messes with you here. Just look at the price here for your orders. A half hour looks like, no, it's going to take forever. But you got 8 hours, right? Here looks like, oh my God, I can't, are you serious? Like my orders are banging right up against the, and then here it's like, oh, you're too tight. You're just too tight on that. It looks like a sell here. That's a half hour. So are you hand placing orders that start here and go all the way down? On the 1 hour, you could come all the way back. This could be it. And your sell bot went short here on that spinning top. And maybe this one too. So it's making money. So I could sell at the market. You just don't want to chase this down because they could be trapping you. This could just be the low. They're establishing the low for the Asian session right now. You don't know. So put buy stops above if you want to build a hedge. Wrong key. Here's my buy stops for the scalp. They last 2 hours. Now you can go call the service. That's what my friend used to call. It was so cute. My buddy took his ex-girlfriend and said, I don't think we can be in a relationship, but how would you like to come over and I'll pay you? So he turned his girlfriend into a hooker. And I thought, that is genius. And then it was like, one lump or two. Very funny, but wow, I thought, man, that's clever. Okay, looks like it could go either way here, up or down. That's pretty funny. But yeah, this, so you're defensively going to get in on that. My cells are getting killed. So you don't want to get trapped like this. You want to be able to pay by the hour. You don't want to get married to a trade. You want to be able to treat the market like a hired gun. You got to have your money working for you, Okay. And some of these names I created in here just to put a separator between close all open pendings. I was afraid. I was laying down and trading this. I was afraid I was going to click this and accidentally click that and just close everything down accidentally. Some of these things you may want to turn on confirmations on. None of this stuff has confirmations. I guess I'm pretty careful, but there's a header you can put in these scripts that says, do you really want to do that? Like a Windows. Do you really want to do that? I guess when you're asking me if I want to format the drive, I'm going to say, okay, I'm glad you asked, but the rest of it, shut the fuck up. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Especially, come on, save the path. Windows still can't save the path for me to save something. Somebody should have something written there, or special behind the scenes. Save the path. So it looks like a pullback in the euro dollar here after that big run. It's all tired. Yeah, so the very first one called stop entry, it's actually set to a pretty wide one. The other one is limit entry. I'm not sure which one you downloaded. But yeah, this seems like a decent broker. Oh, look, I'm winning on my sell. Yeah, it looks like a decent broker. Look, I'm winning. That's how you can tell. That's how you can tell how good the broker is, whether you're winning or losing. That's that's obviously how you can tell. That's the test. That's the litmus test. Well, did you make any money with that broker? No, I blew up my account. The broker sucks, obviously.